Recording starts now.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for finding the time and joining today's webinar. My name is Tayyiba Imam, and I will be your co-host for this webinar. I am a volunteer at Cosmic Tribe and a CS student. I hope you all can see and hear me properly. If there are any technical issues, then you can let me know in the chat so we can all have a seamless webinar. So today we are going to be presenting a sneak peek into the future. Today's presentation will be about exploring the ways in which agritourism and astrotourism can be combined to create a sustainable model for both the tourism industry and local food production. Agritourism involves the promotion of agricultural and rural areas as tourist destinations, often through activities such as farm stays, farm-to-table dining, and educational tours. Astrotourism, on the other hand, refers to the use of astronomy and the night sky as a tourism draw, including stargazing and astrophotography. By bringing these two forms of tourism together, it is hoped that not only will there be economic benefits for the tourism industry and local communities, but there will also be a positive impact on the environment through the promotion of sustainable food production practices. So without further ado, let me introduce our first speaker for the day, Dr. Imtiaz Bhatti. Dr. Imtiaz Bhatti is a prominent figure in the government and education sectors in Sindh, Pakistan. He currently holds the position of Special Secretary of the Culture, Tourism, Antiquities, and Archives Department of the Government of Sindh. In addition to his government role, Dr. Bhatti is also a visiting faculty member at the Institute of Business Administration. It is clear that Dr. Bhatti is dedicated to serving his community and contributing to the growth and development of the region. You can take over now.
Yes, thank you very much, Tayyiba, for a nice introduction. And I would like to thank Marlon and Ryan for organizing this webinar on a very important topic. These are important times as well for tourism because we saw a very devastating dip in tourism around the world in every region during the post-COVID epidemic era. And now things are coming back slowly, but there are other factors that also make it important for policymakers and important functionaries in governments around the world to pay attention to this sector. As I said, post-COVID era, and there's again resurgence of tourism, but also because of war in Ukraine and the looming recession, or we are already in recession, some kind of recession because of high oil prices. All countries are looking for an exchange. So this is a wonderful area to tap into, especially for countries, developing countries like Pakistan, which has not been able to tap into all its potential in various areas. So as we understand, as common people understand, common from ordinary, as an ordinary person, myself, tourism we consider just travel for pleasure, for leisure, or business. And no longer this definition works. Tourism just not a holiday activity. It is a sector, it's an industry which overlaps all other sectors and industries, because you can think of any other industry and you can match tourism with it. For example, off the cuff, I can tell you about health industry. So there's health tourism. People go for medical treatment to various countries. And so because tourism is such an important sector area, that it has lots of unintended effects, and those are many of them are a lot of them are very positive effects. For example, if people go to a country and find out look for archaeological sites, then you have this tourism tapping into the educational sector, research, and so there are lots of areas in which tourism can branch out. And another important factor that is relevant to our country, Pakistan, and especially my province, Sindh, that tourism exposes people to outside trends, outside breakthroughs, new knowledge, cultures. It makes them tolerant. It makes them recipient to other ideas or things that they may not like, but they have to stand people. So they become tolerant. So this exposure, you can compare societies that are exposed and societies that are closed. Again, off the cuff, I can talk of North Korea. And so in economics, we talk of countries that are open economies and closed economies. So tourism taps into lots of areas of economics, balance of payments, for example, off the cuff, again, this area. And there are new dimensions to tourism, because now we listen to various luminaries in technological world, space tourism. So this is the latest we are going into. From my own perspective, the department that I'm representing at the moment is called Culture, Tourism, Antiquities, and Archives Department. So culture is also a big area in which people learn from each other. And again, culture overlaps antiquities. We have archaeological sites which date back to thousands of years, and some of them have not been explored quite well. So from my own perspective, Sindh province, where I am posted at the moment, has a lot of potential, and we have this archaeological site. Everybody, I'm sure, has knows about it, is Mohenjo-daro, which is linked to the culture that expands in the area, and that has links to, that goes upstream along the Indus River, and includes Taxila, Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, and downstream up to the Arabian Sea. So that's our highlight of this area. Then again, we have Sufi saints, and that's a different type of culture that's very tolerant strain of our religion, Islam. I mean, our religion means the most prominent, predominant religion in this area. All religions are our religion, but the most dominant religion in the area is Islam, and Sufi Islam is a very tolerant strain and version of Islam. So people want to do research in those areas. We have lots of flora and fauna. We have coastal belt. So these are the areas in which we want to work on and to improve our tourism potential. Someone was talking about in my office a few days ago regarding Thar Desert. Thar Desert, recently we have learned that it has lots of minerals underneath, but this desert has much to offer. Some countries have annual desert safaris. So this is a potential area of indulging our tourists in for incentivizing them for coming in. So this tourism, as I said, that we people around the world are thinking of this space tourism, but there are kind of niche tourism, niche areas. So archaeologically, archaeology is our niche area. As I mentioned, Harappa, Taxila, Mohenjo-daro, and Sufi tomb, or you might have heard of Makli necropolis, which some of my colleagues declare world's largest graveyard. This needs to be proven, but it's huge. It's really huge. Then we have religious tourism around the world that we all know. People go for pilgrimages and those type of mass tourisms. Then, as I mentioned, research, educational. People have been coming to our areas from various European countries to study our archaeological sites. So they are doing research. And someone was that day talking about, and first time myself heard of DNA tourism. So they are going for tracing their lineage, so where they came from, people get involved in this type of tourism. So coming back to the topic, first, I'm glad that Marlon and Ryan have, and the representative Pasha Ali Sahab have organized this webinar and given me a chance to speak. But this is our job that these people have taken up. We as government department should be doing these things. We are a bit slow, and these people are helping us. And the topic is tourism, agricultural tourism. So agri-tourism, again, that I should have mentioned, the niche areas of this province is one of them. We have wonderful potential in agricultural sector. We are part of the world's largest irrigation canal network, and that extends from northern Punjab to southern Sindh. So having that, we in presence of that irrigation system, we can improve our agriculture and then link tourism to it. So thank you very much. And I just would like to give a chance to other speakers so that they can tell us more about their specific areas. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
Imtiaz. So our next speaker is going to be Rian Khan. Rian Khan is a renowned figure in the field of astronomy and space. Born and raised in Karachi, Pakistan, he developed a passion for this field during his studies. In his early career, he learned the importance of proactive behavior, which he put to use in his public awareness campaigns on light pollution called Light Pollution Fighter. Rian is well respected in the industry and holds several prestigious titles, including International Astronomical Union, IAU Dark Skies Ambassador, IDA Dark Sky Delegate, and National Coordinator of the Moon Village Association. He is also the Young Persons Committee Head of the Royal Aeronautical Society Pakistan Division and the International Astronomical Artists Association's Director of STEAM Outreach. In addition to his impressive professional credentials, Rian is also an accomplished international speaker, having presented at conferences such as Under One Sky, Ascend, Global Hands-On Universe, and Sky Access. He is the founder of Cosmic Tribe and currently serves as the national node of the International Day of Light and the IAU NAEC National Astronomy Education Coordinator from Pakistan team. Rian, you will be taking from here.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining today's session. I would like to thank Dr. Imtiaz Bhatti Saab for creating a momentum in this topic, especially Michael Marlin. I'm a huge fan of Michael Marlin, I would say, because from throughout my career, when I started talking about light pollution, he is one of my inspiration. Because of him, I'm here right now, honestly. And I would like to thank Ali, who is helping us during this whole process while connecting on collectively working on this and creating a collective imagination based on the topic agri-tourism and astrotourism in Pakistan, where I see a huge potential on this topic. My expertise mainly is on light pollution, how we can protect our night sky. And I'm going to present my presentation based on 101 training about light pollution, saving our dark skies. Maybe Taiba, you may share the screen, or maybe I can try. If you have the presentation, maybe you can start, or maybe I can try. Okay, yes.
Can you see
Taiba,
the
you may
screen?
make it full screen. Yes, we can see the screen. Can you make it full
Alright.
screen right now?
Oh, is it not full screen? I started
No.
the presentation.
Okay.
Oh.
Now you need to reshare it, and it will be a full screen again. So
Wait. Can you see it now?
yes, perfect.
All right.
So I'm part of International Dark Sky Association as a delegate member and advocate as well. Saving dark skies in Pakistan is like a passion and a mission of my life now, I feel, because I'm part of International Dark Sky Association as well as a part of International Day of Light. So my life is all turning into light and darkness. And when you talk about light pollution specifically, if you move to the next page, I will talk about some basic understanding regarding what is light pollution and how we can protect our night sky. So move to the next page, please. Okay. Only in the darkness can you see the stars. And we are very sure about this, that because of light pollution, we cannot see all the stars in Karachi, especially. Karachi is a highly light polluted area in Pakistan when you see a light pollution map. So when you talk about light pollution, in this photograph, you may see a halo of light in the sky. Because of this halo of the light, we cannot see the stars. Especially when you talk about City of Lights, Karachi, the sky may look like this when you see from a bird eye view. It may look like this because the city is growing horizontally, and which is creating a huge number of light pollution. Specifically, Karachi, especially when you talk about, is growing by 5% every year. The population of Karachi is growing 5% by every year, which is a huge number. And it is not growing vertically when you talk about urbanization. The best, I'm sure there are going to be a lot of policymakers and urban planners who talk about this, that cities should be vertically designed. But unfortunately, when you see a city like Karachi, it's horizontally growing and creating more pollution in the environment, and which is economically not, when you talk about cost analysis of a living cost in the city is more expensive here slowly and gradually, because you spend more time on the roads when you have to get some facilitations, like when you reach out. So there are a lot of things that is connected with this topic as well when you talk about urban planning and about the City of Lights, Karachi. You may see this huge halo of light, which is known as sky glow. In the next slide, this kind of halo that you see in the sky is known as sky glow. This is one type of light pollution. And the other you may experience, that is glare. The glare is another type of light pollution. For example, those who wear eyewear or spectacles, they may experience this kind of glare, or someone who is driving a car, they may experience this kind of glare effect in their eyes. And this glare effect is also one sort of light pollution. And this light pollution may affect or hazardous for those who are driving the car. And it is one type of light pollution. And the third one is actually the light trespass. You may have experienced this kind of light pollution when you talk about social justice. The outdoor light on the streets may affect your sleep at night, especially because this outdoor light, which is unshielded and unprotected, is actually entering in your house or disturbing the sleep at night. So these lights, outdoor lights, is trespassing. Entering without permission is known as light trespass. So what are the consequences of light pollution when you talk about it? So number one is actually from ecological perspective, ecological impact. We live at a coastal area, And one important thing that we know that turtle get affected because of light pollution. They cannot find their way to the sea. When the hatchlings come out from eggs, they actually need to move toward the moonlight. And because of the city lights and the light pollution, they move toward the city and they get dehydrated and they die. And this kind of impact is affecting the turtle life near the coastal area, which is connected to our city, Karachi. A lot of turtles may die every year because of this kind of light pollution. I would like to add the other part of this ecological impact, the birds. I must say that Ali may have experienced, I heard one news few months before that there are some bats, they moved from main cities of main like central area of Karachi, move toward the Gadap and suburbs areas of Karachi, bats, especially those nocturnal birds. They come and they migrate from one place to another place. Because of light pollution, they get confused in the light and they die. Millions of birds die every year because of light pollution. And this is one kind of impact that we may see because of this problem that we have in Karachi. So the other thing is also connected with ecological impact, that is trees. Birds earlier and lost their leaves later under artificial lights. Their growth, their growth get affected because of light pollution. And sometimes we use artificial lights around the trees, which is not really good for the growth of the trees, which is not that's not recommended. And there's all these things that you see in this presentation. There is a complete research behind, and you may find this research on International Dark Sky Association website, which is darksky.org. You may visit this website and you may find more information about all these topics. So energy wastage. There is a huge report based on light pollution and energy wastage that is done in USA. So almost $3 to $7 billion wasted every year in USA, spent every year on unneeded lighting. 21 million tons of carbon dioxide produced, burned unnecessary of light pollution or lighting designs that we have. It's creating a huge problem of our fossil fuel wastage, I would say. And we may not have enough data when you talk about Pakistan, because sometimes we see research like in Pakistan, there is a lot of potential that I see. We need to have more research on these kind of topics when you talk about especially energy wastage, especially in City of Lights, Karachi, I would say, because we face this kind of problem of energy shortage. So you may notice that how much light we are wasting every year when you compare this with USA. So when you also talk about human health, so light pollution is also affecting us, and how it is affecting us is actually because when you sleep at night, it's this melatonin, this especially this chemical, the hormones that regulate sleep at night, it may also get affected. You may not get proper sleep at night, and it is also connected with anxiety, depression, obesity, breast cancer. All these topics are connected to light pollution. Unfortunately, we do not have enough research available on these topics, but you may find some of them on International Dark Sky Association website. And in our country, especially when you talk about the problems that we have in the city, it may be connected to this topic as well. So when you talk about dark sky heritage, dark skies are going to be the heritage for the future generation. And it is one of the important things that we are discussing today, that how we may protect our night sky or the dark sky and promote astrotourism and agritourism collectively to have this collective imagination and protect these places as a heritage for the future generation. And now I'm going to move on this slide where we can see that light pollution is growing 2% by every year. It's a huge number when you talk about City of Lights Karachi, which which is growing by 5% every year when you talk about the population and the urbanization growth. So the exponential growth uh, in this what I say, light pollution, if we are unaware of this topic, it may be hazardous for us for the future, I would say. And I have added one more thing here. When you see a light pollution map of Pakistan, you may see a lot of dark sky places in Pakistan that has a huge potential to become a dark sky place, parks, dark sky festival, activities. You can see the picture right now. It's just a clear picture that you can see here. It's a huge place from Balochistan to the northern areas to KPK to Sindh. Every place you may find dark sky places in Pakistan. It's not just something that I'm talking about, but it's a real picture of light pollution map. You can also visit on the website lightpollutionmap.info. You may find a clear picture on this. And you can compare this light pollution with our neighboring country. Light pollution is very less in Pakistan. And that's what we are working on right now to promote astrotourism or dark sky tourism in this region. Are you the lucky one? I think we all are the lucky one to see all these night sky, because only 2 out of 10 people on the earth can see the Milky Way galaxy. And I think Pakistan is the lucky one. And 99% of US and Europe is under light polluted or light polluted skies, or they may not see the night sky clearly as we see in the northern areas, especially in Sindh, especially in Balochistan. And you may find so many places where you can go for a stargazing activity. And the very last few pointers, how we can make the difference. First of all, we need to shield our lights, especially. It has a very simple solution based on the lighting designs. Shielding all those artificial lights that you may see in outdoor, that we need to shield them properly. There is a complete detail available. What sort of lighting design is suitable for our outdoor lighting? The other part is also based on the Kelvin scale, which is the color temperature. We need to use light under 2200 Kelvin, which is the color temperature of warm light. We need to avoid using white bright light or bluish light that we may use sometime in our households, or outdoor light especially. We need to use warm lights. These are very important things that we need to figure out. Just the very important thing that we can do is just turn off the light. It's one of the easiest method. Just turn off unneeded all these artificial light around us. We may not know how it is affecting, how much pollution it is creating, how it is affecting our biodiversity, especially when you talk about the other species. Not us, but we are part of this nature. So just turn off all the artificial light that are unneeded. And there is another thing that we may do also. It's a citizen science project. Maybe Marlene can talk about further on this topic, Globe at Night project, where you can become a part of it, maybe. Because Marlene is a part of this Globe at Night, and we can also work collectively to learn about the citizen science project in another activity, because today's our topic is more connected to astrotourism. So thank you so much for joining today's webinar. I hand over to Taiba to proceed for the next speakers. If you have any question, please write down in the chat box. We may entertain your questions after at the end of the session.
Thank you so much, Suryan. That was very informative. So our next speaker is going to be Ali Muraj. Ali Muraj is the Director of Operations at Pasha Farms, a 6-acre farm located in Karachi, Pakistan. During his tenure at the farm, he has overseen a surge in student visitors, where there were 1,000 students experiencing the farm's hands-on approach to sustainable agriculture in the past 3 months. Pasha Farms, founded and led by CEO Tawfiq Pasha, is dedicated to promoting sustainable practices and to agritourism in Pakistan, a country with a largely agricultural-based economy that is also facing the challenges of climate change. Under Muraj's leadership, the farm is helping to educate and inspire the next generation to live sustainably. On to you, Ali. I think you're muted, right? We can't hear you.
Yes, sorry. Can you guys hear me now? Can everyone hear me? Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, lovely. Thank you so much for the introduction. Thank you, Rayan and Michael, and Mr. Imtiaz Saab, Dr. Imtiaz Saab, for having me on board as well. It's a really, I was just really excited when I was first approached, because this is something that's so essential. It's, you know, like Ryan was saying, that these aren't just things we're talking about. It's a reality, right? It's a reality that we have found ourselves in the middle of, and there's many good people making efforts in their respective fields to kind of bring it all together and integrate it and move forwards in a sustainable manner. So my focus is sustainability. The idea is, no matter what you're doing, you're a producer, you're a consumer, you're an engineer or a farmer or whatever it is, do it sustainably, right? There's a way of carrying out your business, your work, your livelihood in a way that's not harmful to the earth. Everything we get from the earth. So why should we not live in a way where we're giving back, right? So the idea that I've kind of been very blessed and very lucky in the sense that I was very much born into it. So like Ryan was saying, you know, off your excess lights and try not to use the white bulbs, use more of the, you know, the warmer tones. So I've had the perfect role model, who's my father. He would not let us exist if we left an extra light on, if we, you know, all about conserving energy, right? And it comes full circle. Yeah, thank you so much. So it's you know, it's also interconnected, and that's my focus on making everyone understand. Is a lot of people say, oh, but you know, agriculture and astronomy, how does that even link? Where is agritourism, with intersection of agritourism and astrotourism, right? So the idea is, we know now, sure, we have fancy satellites in the sky that look down on us and, you know, tell us what the weather patterns will be, what the climate patterns would be. But centuries ago, millennia ago, it was the reverse. It was the people on earth that would look up to the skies to tell them when the shift of season is coming in, when the shift of climate is coming in, right? So astronomy and agriculture have always, in the subtext, gone hand in hand, right? Because like I'm saying, millennia ago, centuries ago, farmers would rely on the stars to tell them, okay, when should we be planting? When should we be sowing? When should we be harvesting? Right. So I'm not saying that now we still need to rely on that. Now we have the technology, we have moved forward from that. So I'm not saying figure out when to plant by looking at the constellations and the stars, but keep it in mind. Keep it in mind that it's so interconnected, even if you're not at face value be able to understand that. So agritourism, I'll speak a little bit about that. Agritourism is just the idea of bringing visitors, bringing families, bringing students, bringing tourism onto operational farms, to ranch, to agricultural businesses, essentially, right? So whether it's a small scale, whether it's a large scale, whether it's a the cattle are actually to do with vegetables and fruits, right? So agritourism is as simple as that. It's just having visitors come onto an agricultural enterprise and involve them in it, make them see it, make them experience it, make them, you know, just really immerse themselves in it. So there's a couple of different types of agritourism. the one that we sort of focus on, and I over the past few months have been focusing most on, is because we all say that children are the future. So the first type of agritourism is your educational, right, and your experiential. So it's having them come, have hands-on experience, getting down and dirty, feeling the mud between their toes, feeling the mud between their fingers, and really learning firsthand what it means, not just to be so connected to the earth in terms of being a farmer and growing, but also to understand the complete beauty in it, right? In how full circle it goes, right? So that's your first type of agritourism, is your educational. So that's what we've been doing for the past few months, is reaching out to all the schools throughout Karachi, saying, look, we have a farm. The one advantage we have is that we're not even that far out, right? So we are not considered to be outside of Karachi, right? You go 10 minutes beyond the airport and we're there. Otherwise, to get the sort of experience and environment and surroundings that we've managed to maintain, that my father's maintained over the years, you would have to usually go far out of the city, a few hours at least, right? So like I was saying, so we've been having students, the teachers, and we do it throughout the whole school level. So we start literally from class 1, even before that, kindergarten and pre-K, and we do it up to university level. So the idea is obviously the detail, the depth to which we can go differs and sort of increases as we move up in age. But we also make sure that, hey, even if you're 5 years old, 6 years old, 4 years old, there's still a way to show you, to make you experience the importance of agriculture and really get a proper understanding of it. So that's the first type, which is your education. Second type would be your direct market agritourism, which we've had over the past few years. It's kind of gone down since COVID, but anyone in Karachi mostly would have heard of the farmers market, Karachi farmers market. It would go up every Sunday, and you know, your local producers would bring their freshest and finest, whatever it is, veg or cheese or honey, and all these locally made produce, right? So that's your direct market. Then there's other sort of types of agritourism, which is more event-based, recreation-based. Again, always the idea is to give an immersive experience and really ingrain the idea and understanding of the importance of agriculture and tourism, right? And so, as we were discussing, Pakistan is a majorly agro-based economy. That's what fuels our economy. And that's the scariest thing about this year is all the damage, the crop damage throughout Sindh, the life damage throughout Balochistan. So it's the need of the day now more than ever to really be focusing on it, you know. And one of the biggest agri-tourism markets, I say, is Italy, right? Where they estimated, they showed that the year before COVID, so 2019, there was an average of 3 hours a day being spent on the farm by the average citizen, with a total number of 26 million people engaged in agritourism. Why can we not see those numbers here? Where our entire economy depends on agriculture, it depends on the farmers, it depends on those that are so closely connected. So why can we not promote it here, right? The idea is that whether you're a small farm, whether you're a bigger operation, there's room for you, there's space, there's opportunity, right? So we want to make people understand that, okay, even if you're not in Karachi, if you're a little further out, if you're in interior, if you're in Punjab, we have so much opportunity and so much relies on it. When we talk about agri-tourism and the promotion of it, we know there's a trickle-down effect, right? There's a chain effect that we can't necessarily see at the time. So we can imagine that, okay, if I am promoting tourists to come to a certain area and to come to the farm, then that's giving more employment opportunities in those rural areas, right? And you're providing it and generating income at a rate that would not be available to them otherwise. So there's a whole lot of benefits we know of agrotourism. You know, you are then also bringing awareness, you're increasing the market for those traditional products, you're developing the consumer market, you're helping not only strengthen the community, but you're helping strengthen the actual following of it and the understanding you're propagating, right? So that's sort of the main advantages, and the list goes on and on, of course. So what was then really interesting to me is how then we related to astrotourism, right? So I mean, I've grown up on this 6-acre farm, and it's always been away from the city. And ever since I was a kid, I remember my father would tell me we would look as much as we could to the horizon. We're surrounded by really big trees, but when you look just above those trees, you look to the horizon, in the dark black sky, there's always like neon glow, pink or lighter whitish, radiating from the city. So we, being 20 kilometers or 15 kilometers out of the city, we are still able to see the moon and the stars, not to the extent that you would if you would drive 6 hours sort of into the interior of a province. But light pollution, it's always been something that has been of notice to us. We've seen it even here at the farm. So then how I initially started saying that centuries ago, the farmers would look towards the stars, right, to get them an understanding of the shift in season, the shift in climate. Now it's the other way around. So we have satellites that are looking down at us, and that's what informs us. Now, since we do have that technology, since we do have more understanding of how it all works, since we have an understanding of the vast actual implications, the things that Rayan said just now, I was unaware of, that light pollution causes breast cancer. It causes so many of these other physical ailments, right? It's an understanding that these LED lights, the whiter lights, a lot less natural, so they affect your sleeping patterns, they affect your brain chemistry. So we have to know that this is the time to be doing this. It's a problem of right now, right? And so in the same way, my father will always say, and it's well known, the best time to plant a tree was yesterday. The second best time is today. So in the same way you're working towards light pollution, to eradicate it, to make those movements. And as Rayan said, it's the momentum that we want. The best time was 10 years ago, but that doesn't mean that we should have 10 years. Say, oh, we should have done it, when we had a webinar, we should have moved it forward. Now, the thing is as well, you hear enough people talking about raising awareness. I feel the time for raising awareness has also, it's passing us. Now it's the time for action. You can't keep just educating and raising awareness without also implementing the idea that there has to be action following that awareness. There's no point learning something new if you're not going to apply it to your daily life, to your daily practices. So that's kind of my approach, is to just urge people to look, to stop, to take a second, breathe in some fresh air, look at the things around. See, we want to continue on the path that we face ourselves, or are we trying to forge a new path? This is one way I always explain it to the students that come for a feedback is, and like Rayan was saying about the past, that for the last years, in fact, 2.5 years, the species of bats changed slightly. So we would get the little bats, but now we've got a larger, where it's probably the least descriptive way to say it, but when you look at them, you can see like proper bat, type of bat. First time we saw it, we initially thought it was a kite, like an eagle. We thought it was a bird. So my point is, we know how climate change, how light pollution, all these things affects different species of animals, right? And so to continue my point, we've noticed over, say, the last 6 years that there's been a drop in the population of green parrots around, right? And I kind of fear the day, I dread it, that, 10 years down the line, when students come, I'll have to show them a picture of a butterfly and say that, oh, once upon a time we used to get these at the farm, and once upon a time we used to get these, you know. So it's the most important thing is to not feel overwhelmed, to not feel like this is an artistic issue, it's a systemic issue, it's an issue within the system as an individual person. We don't realize that the individual accumulates, right? It's exponential. I know 100 people, those 100 people know 100 people. Before, we have a whole army of people willing to fight for the cause. So the whole idea is to not feel overwhelmed, understand, but to take personal accountability. And that way you're able to take personal responsibility to drive you to carry out those initiatives, to speak to those people, to get those momentums going. Right. So on that note, again, I would like to thank everyone for having me, for also starting this. And I really, really hope that there is action to follow this as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was very informative. Give me a second. Right now, our next speaker is. Sorry?
I would like to add one more thing on Ali's point. We never experience firefly. We don't see any fireflies anymore anywhere in Karachi or nearby or suburb areas. These are few things we never notice, such kind of things. These are some important aspects of astrotourism and agritourism. We may preserve our biodiversity, especially when you talk about all these things. When you see from a bigger perspective, you may notice that we are unaware of all these things that are now coming toward extinction. For example, the fireflies, you may not experience them anymore in the city of Lights, Karachi, or even in suburb areas. Thank you so much, Ali. Yes, Taiba, you may continue.
So our next speaker is going to be Michael Marlin. Marlin is a leading figure in the field of night sky conservation, having worked to raise awareness about the loss of night since 1987. His theoretical production about this issue toured to 5 continents over the course of 20 years. Marlin is also a spokesperson for Globe at Night, a TEDx speaker, and a consultant and speaker on astrotourism. Thank you, Marlin. You may take over now.
Thank you so much. It's wonderful to be here and to hear this building enthusiasm in Pakistan for changes and creating a future. So I'm just going to jump right into my presentation here. And here we go. Slideshow. So astrotourism and its connection to agritourism. I'm the author of a book on astrotourism that was released in June of 21, and it's a textbook on this new industry, this new travel industry. And so I speak from this place, and the slides you're going to see are from my research. So star tourism or astrotourism is a segment of ecotourism and agritourism that utilizes dark skies and views of the stars and celestial events as the attraction for travelers who reside in heavily light polluted metropolitan areas who would not otherwise see a starry night sky. Astrotourists, like other ecotourists, wish to immerse themselves in the natural world. Like other environmentalists and ecotourists, they will pick up the baton and become a champion of darkness, and we will need many, many of them to create a societal shift. Astrotourism is the fun side of the light pollution issue. People need to see what you're asking them to be fighting for. Now, there's plenty of reasons about why we should be addressing light pollution, cost, energy consumption, greenhouse gases, safety, protecting nocturnal wildlife, protecting human health, preserving cultural heritage. And all of that aside, it may be the economic stimulation that activates people more to do the right thing. Given the current state of affairs, it is obvious to see that the collective we, which is the market, are not driven by the higher angels of ourselves or ethics or even planetary survival, but money. In The Lonely Planet, which is a tourism book, as Earth grows ever more populous and cities expand, opportunities for humanity to look up at the rest of the universe decrease. Across the planet, travelers are now seeking out the world's last remaining dark sky places where they can get a clear, unpolluted view of the stars. So this has been covered now in the media since 2016. Condé Nast wrote that astrotourism is officially a thing. And these other publications point to how this is taking off in the travel market. It's been covered by the New York Times and all the way to the BBC. This is tourism and astrotourism in Chile is really just exploding with the government support there. So planetariums are a form of virtual astrotourism, and this is where you will find your audiences. These were some pictures I was able to find of the planetariums here in Pakistan, and notice that it's sponsored by Pakistan International Airlines. So yeah, that was the other one, the other planetarium. So this next chart uses information that was gathered by Airbnb and the Starlight Foundation, and it shows the annual growth rate of areas that have gained international dark sky certification as dark sky places. Now, this is really pretty extraordinary, some of these numbers. Let me just move this out of the way. That you have here, it shows where the place is, like here in Namibia. They had a growth rate of 162%, and the folks visiting there, South African, Germany, USA, Namibia, and France. Down here in Chile, they've had a growth rate of 327%. And out of the 14 listed here, Germans are going to 10 of these different places. So they're apparently very big on astrotourism. But the numbers really do bear out the efficacy of having a dark sky certification. Nearly all travel that takes place originates in major metropolitan areas, North and South America, Europe, Australia, and Asia. Why is it for metropolitan area? People from the rural parts of the country don't have the kind of money to travel to international destinations. This is what people are living under, and it is all over the world. This is what America looks like. Here you can tell what these countries are. Tokyo, this is South Korea. This dark spot here, any guesses? It's North Korea. So it's easy to see where people are living under this dome of light for an entire lifetime. And these are the people who are the travelers. So a dark sky is a natural resource based on these three characteristics. A natural resource has utility, it has a limited availability, and potential for depletion or consumption. Now, you cannot consume a night sky, but you can most assuredly deplete it with overlighting and light pollution. So nature conservation through tourism. These are some examples of how places that they're trying to preserve are done, that the preservation effects take place using things like this. In the rainforest, canopy zipline tours. For scuba divers, it would be reef preservation. For people who want to preserve wetlands, duck hunters, this is the case in the United States. River conservation by fishermen and rafters. The Audubon Society is joined by bird watchers, and dark sky preservation will be done by astrotourists. So let's look at the value of something. We get to determine that. And how does something, how is a price established? Well, let's say, what is this land worth? We're going to just say it's worth 3,000 euros a hectare, just for the sake of our discussion. Now, if water is discovered, that price of that hectare may jump to 30,000. If zinc is discovered, it might jump to 300,000. If gold was discovered, the price would jump to 300 million a hectare. And of course, with diamonds, the price would jump to 3.5 billion per hectare. Now, these are just points for a conversation, but people who are living under a dark sky are literally living under a diamond mine. And here are the numbers to prove it. A couple of PhDs, Dr. Mitchell and Dr. Galloway, did this study using a 10-year forecast of visitors to the national parks and using standard input-output modeling, it is observed that for the first time anywhere, the value of dark skies to tourism in this area. The authors find that non-local tourists who value dark skies will spend $5.8 billion over the next 10 years in the Colorado Plateau. These tourist expenditures will generate $2.4 billion in higher wages and create over 10,000 additional jobs each year for the region. In Mexico, it is the first country to finally state that light is going to be regulated as an environmental pollutant. And this is one of the reasons I believe they did this is because this is where a lot of winter birds migrate to, and they also have an enormous bat population. And so they have taken this bold step and are leading the world. Now, here's some pictures of Mexico. And it shows the high Kelvin temperature lights, which appear blue to our eyes. And here, the low Kelvin temperature. This is the old town. Here's an example of how glare is created by the blue rich white light, making it difficult to adapt to the night. Our eyes are meant to adapt to the night. We are comfortable with lower amber colors, like the color of fire, because our eyes, over the millions of years our optic nerve developed, had only been exposed to sunlight, moonlight, starlight, firelight, and the occasional lightning flash. So yes, we are more comfortable with our ocular nerve being exposed to firelight and lower color temperatures. So here's an example of astrotourism being developed in South Africa around this large observatory, SALT, South African Large Telescope. And because the telescope was put there, some entrepreneurs in the area decided, well, people are going to come out to this great place to view the stars. So they started building an astro economy there. The same is going on in Chile. These are privately owned observatories. The stars, the skies there, the Atacama Desert, are incredibly crisp and clear at 16,000 feet, I believe it is. It's extremely high up, and tourists don't get to go into those and see the telescopes there. You get to do a tour during the day, but to see a telescope, places like this have been set up that house commercially available telescopes. Now, the collateral benefits of astrotourism: preserves natural settings, spreads tourist money to remote and rural areas, reduces energy consumption by reducing lighting, reduces greenhouse gas emissions, creates sustainable tourism jobs, provides educational opportunities, preserves cultural heritage, and involves stakeholder participation. Now, here are the potential expenditures that would have to be laid out to do this. You'd have marketing materials, you'd have travel and site surveys, content creation, design, fabrication, and installation, branding, training and education, optical equipment, website development, luminaire retrofitting, and site development. So one of the things I just need to point out is that the Pakistan flag has got a crescent moon and a star. So you're already there with your branding. Okay, so now this is how agritourism and astrotourism fit together. This is very big in the United States, and agritourism can include all kinds of things: cutting and putting up hay, having a pumpkin patch or a corn maze, teaching people how to use a plow. It's becoming increasingly popular, with more than 20,000 operating farms participating throughout Europe. As a result, the Italian countryside specifically has been able to save a significant number of valuable historic farm buildings and to preserve traditional agriculture in areas difficult to cultivate. Climate change is forcing farmers and countries to re-examine food production methods, and astrotourism can create a supplemental revenue stream for remote rural locations that are facing new challenges growing crops. Now, there's a timeless relationship between farmers and the stars. Here's Taurus. It's an important summer constellation. The rise of Taurus meant the growing season was underway. Cygnus the Swan. This signifies the beginning of the harvest season. Farmers would mark this constellation, and crops such as beets, carrots, and garlic could be planted around the time of Cygnus rising. So those are your winter crops. Leo has been known throughout history. It was going all the way back to the Sumerian period. And that time it was known as the sickle, focusing on the curved shape here. And in ancient Egyptian agricultural efforts, the rise of Leo marked a critical moment of the year. The appearance and rise of Leo marks the start of the planting season and the official end of winter. Pisces, throughout all ancient cultures, they looked at this group of stars and everybody saw fish. So there's Jung's collective consciousness coming into play. The rise of Pisces signals that autumn has arrived. In the Northern Hemisphere, this would be a sign that harvest season is over or almost over. This is one of the most important seasonal constellations by which farmers could identify the coming winter solstice. So agritourism and astrotourism and agritourism together builds a durable foundation for the development of sustainable tourism and food production. A goal being that within 5 years or less, the food grown on site will feed visitor Pakistani cuisine. In 10 years or less, it will feed the surrounding areas. During the day, guests work on the farm or the fields, the farm or the fields, and in the evenings, they enjoy many stories of the stars and the science of astronomy. It connects all cultures to one another because we all enjoy good food and we all live under the same sky. The rarity and value of a dark night cannot be understated. If we do not take advantage of this resource, then the fault lies not in the stars, but in ourselves. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Michael. That was very interesting. So as we're approaching the end of our webinar, I would like to ask my speakers to share a few words of wisdom if you like.
Wasn't that enough wisdom? Not enough wisdom?
Yes, yes, you're absolutely right.
It was
So
really
I would like
interesting.
to especially thank Dr. Imtiaz Bhatti for supporting this initiative, and Mr. Marlin, Mr. Muraj, and Mr. Khan for taking out the time and shedding light on such an interesting topic. And I would like to thank everyone else for attending today's webinar. We encourage you to connect with us on social media to explore more about these ideas. In addition, you can contact.
Wait a minute. We should do the words of wisdom. So I wasn't dismissing that.
Oh, oh, okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, I prepared something.
All right, so go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, you want me to start? Oh, that's very
Yeah,
funny.
sure.
So some of the things I wrote down is that just two things. As children, we were afraid of the dark, but then when we became adults, we learned that some of the best times we would ever have in our lives were when the lights are out. And one final thought is that when we can no longer see the heavens that we belong to, how long will it take before we forget that we belong to the heavens?
That was really great and profound as well. Dr. Imtiaz Bhatti, would you like to say a few words of wisdom?
Sorry. Yes. I think he is. Wait.
Yes. Thank you for unmuting me.
Yeah, I just realized that it was a problem. Okay.
That is kind of, we live in an autocratic society. So that was kind of dictatorial on your part. Unlike, okay. Thank you very much to all speakers. And I really learned a few new things. And this is a wonderful out of the box thing that we need to explore further. And the things that I learned, for example, Ryan shared about sea turtles. Sea turtles lose their way back to their nests or homes because of this light pollution. And this concept of light trespassing is also something that needs to be connected with other pieces of knowledge. So this is how new branches of knowledge develop. So I was discussing with my daughter some time ago about various subfields of physics. So I told her that, and she also realized that many of the total new subjects within physics were part of a wider subject called science. Then we broke it off into various other fields like botany, zoology, and so we are going to have this expansion of knowledge. And for example, one thing that Ali shared about farmers market. Farmers market is a wonderful area regarding tourism. And I used to go to farmers markets in my area a lot when I was in Washington, D.C. So we don't see these type of things in Pakistan, although we are an agricultural country. So there is no limit to connecting tourism with other areas within our culture, within our society, and not just limited to agri or astro tourism, but in all walks of life. Thank you very much to everybody for their time.
Okay, and just to add on to that, again, just like I said before, my sort of words of wisdom would be that exactly that. The house is on fire, the alarm bells are ringing. Let's now do something about it. It's time. It's amazing, and momentum and these movements, they start from the conversation. But all my worry is that it ends at the conversation as well. So we need to make sure, we need to make a little promise to ourselves that no matter what it is, however we want to do it, see, everyone's interest will be different. Everyone's passion will be slightly, different from each other. That's the beauty of it, is that we are all approaching the same goal, the same end result that we want, but through our own lenses, right? So whether it's through agriculture, whether it's through light pollution and astronomy. And so to kind of go on to the question that was asked, yes, tourism, even agri-tourism, can prove to be detrimental for the environment. So it's, no matter what you're doing, no matter what your work is, what your career path is, what your interest or your passion is, like I said, even farming, if not done properly, will be detrimental to the environment. It'll be absolutely disastrous. So we need to make sure we keep, keep focus of what the end goal is. We need to also keep making sure that there are initiatives. There's the whole idea, the best way to go about it is to understand that we are a community, right? We are people who want to see betterment in our lifetime so that we can leave a better world for our children. So whether you're taking an approach of, as I said, no matter what sphere you're taking it from, just understand, yes, it's also very gloomy and sounds very bleak when we talk about, climate change and this and that, but there's still enough time. There's so many, alhamdulillah, so many of us who are good people, who have good intentions, who want to do the work. All we need to do is band together and make sure that action comes from it, right? And on that note, thank you once again.
Yes, I would like to thank Dr. Imtiaz Saab for all the support that he is supporting this initiative, first of all, because I reached out to so many people, but I see a huge like-mindedness in this topic and connection. And we may not find such people around us. Sometimes it's hard to find, but I see a pleasure to meet with Dr. Imtiaz and supporting this initiative, and especially Marlon, who is passionate about this topic, and he's doing this work for years, like almost 30 years or more. And And regarding myself, because I'm like, as I see, my inspiration is here. So I'm passionate to protect the night sky of Pakistan, especially for the future generation. I see that we may protect these night sky for the heritage, as a heritage for our future generation, because we may not be able to see in the future. It's very, very true, because the percentage, the light pollution is growing globally. It's a huge number. And I see it's a right time to be more proactive in this region and work collectively and initiate something that will also incentivize and promote or support our economical growth, especially in this region. Thank you so much. And if we have any question, please ask from the audience, because we have received few questions. Somebody wants to ask. There was a question for Ali. Somebody wanted to ask. Teba, can you read that question?
I think that question was already answered in the chat.
Yeah, so I did
Right.
answer. It was a very, very valid point, right? Which he said, they said that, you know, tourism, agri-tourism even, it's what I said, that it can be disastrous. It does lead to higher water consumption. It can lead to soil erosion. But if we do it right, then the benefits far outweigh any sort of drawbacks that are associated with it. The idea is to have that exponential impact, right? So when I have 1,000 students come to me over the last 2 months, I know that at least even if I've affected 10% of them, which I hope I'm a little more passionate than that and would, have an impact on a higher number. But even that 10%, they will go on to do those things that will sort of offset um, the water consumption and the resources that are going into it, right? At the end of it, no matter what we're doing, we're putting resource into it. We have to make sure what we're getting in return is worth it, right? So that's again my point. And this is the most important thing and what it means to be sustainable. You don't have to be a farmer to live a sustainable life. You can be a lawyer, you can be an engineer, you can be running a business, but are you running it ethically and sustainably, right?
And one more important thing, what you are seeking is seeking you. I see a number of participants who are interested to learn more about this topic. And I think we all are a part of this movement and create a momentum in this topic and take it further. I hope to see all of you in our next activities that we are planning to do with our honorable speakers like Marlene, Ali, and Dr. Imtiaz Saab, and we will take it further. Feel free to write
And
if you have any
sorry,
questions. Yes.
sorry.
Yes.
No, just one last thing I was going to say to all the participants. This is a slightly shameless plug. You can find us, Pasha Farms, on Instagram, on Facebook. Look up Ryan, look at the work he does, look at Michael and Dr. Imtiaz, the work that they do. Follow us, support us. We need the support. It's through people, it's through the people that give us the power to really make a difference. So, the best way to support us is to keep up with what we're doing, get involved, whether it's a conversation, whether it's an event. Inshallah, there'll be another webinar soon and, variations of it. Keep up with what we're doing. Stay involved in the conversation and in the action.
Yes. Now we are planning to do something physically. Hopefully.
Amazing.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. I think if we may not have any question, Teba, do we have any other question for
No,
Marlene?
No, there are no other questions.
Thank you, everyone. I hope to see you soon. And one more important thing, with permission of Marlene, we are going to, and the other speakers, we may share this recording on our social media page if they allow us. So maybe, but we may not guarantee, but we will ask and we will see how much information we are going to share. And support us, and feel free to write an email if you have any question and be a part of this activity and this movement, I would say. Thank you once again. Have a great day, everyone, and enjoy your weekend.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye. Allah Hafiz, everyone. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording now.